was not a particularly nice day. Not a day for a fairy tale. No sunshine, no birds singing, no one smiling, no sense of adventure in the air, no feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. Nothing much to write a story about. For something to do, a bright breeze broke the frosty patina on the puddles, and the bronze leaves of autumn stuck their jagged spears into the sky, entreating the sun out to cast a ray their way. But the sun couldn't see them because of the clouds, and, besides, it was too warm and cosy to come out. Meanwhile, a little boy, not much older than the mushrooms that had appeared overnight, was walking along looking at the ground, dragging a sweet and sucking his feet, or was it the other way round? Occasionally he would stop and imagine himself under water, or in space, or in bed, or somewhere else that I can't describe in words. He didn't want to go to school. He was bored by his lessons. Reading was for other people. Books told him things that someone else thought that he should know. Arithmetic was for other people too. Addition took away his time, subtraction gave him sore eyes, multiplication made him moody, and division was just too hard. But he did kind of like writing. At least he felt in control when he was writing. He could use any words that he wanted to, as long as they made some kind of sense. He liked to make up words too. This made it hard to understand some of his stories, but he didn't mind, because nobody else ever read these stories. These stories were his own special stories. They were filled with strange creatures with heads where their tails should have been, and tails where their heads should have been. Snakes didn't seem strange in his stories for some reason. He kicked a conker, which was the same colour as his mane of hair, and it galloped and gambolled across the grass. He was spurred on by this, and began to trot down the track himself. He skipped and scudded and scampered and scuffed a scuffling shuffle as he shot through the gate. He was enjoying this steeplechase, this horse-chestnut race. First to the church spire would be the winner, he thought. Like a foolish fool, a foolish foal, he flew at full speed. He just ran and ran, soon forgetting his race and all about school. This was too much fun, and he loved to run. He wasn't sure how long or how far he had run when he decided to stop. He looked for a familiar landmark, but all he could see were trees and bushes and ferns and streaks of weak light through the forest's leaky roof. The little boy wasn't scared, but he began to think about the stories his mum had told him. He remembered Hansel and Gretel, and Goldilocks, and Little Red Riding Hood, but they were the only stories he could recall, and that made him shiver like a feather caught in a cracked tile. He spun on the spot, eyes spying in all directions, but he couldn't tell from which way he had come. The day outside the forest was the same as before. Still no sunshine, still no birds singing, still no one smiling, still no sense of adventure in the air, still. Everything was still. In the forest, however, the day was beginning to change. The little boy heard it first of all as a whisper, very soft, like a wisp of smoke, just a series of empty sounds, then silence. Then, once more, a little louder, like a light laugh, then a lull. Then finally he heard it so that he could make out the words.
All the day and all the night, my voice is gay, my light is bright. All the night and all the day, I help little boys to find their way.
The little boy wanted to work out where the words were coming from. He looked and listened, but there was nobody there. No body to be seen, but something to be heard.
Little boy lost, little boy sad, little boy found, little boy glad.
Where are you? Why can't I see you? Cried the little boy, glancing around. I am lost, but I'm not sad, he protested.
In the town or in the wood, you can't be bad, you must be good. On the road or on the coast, you must be meek, you must not boast,
sang the hide-and-seek voice. It's not a boast, I'm just not sad. Actually, I'm quite happy, he pretended.
Shall I leave you? Shall I go? If you lie, then I will know,
said the Ner and Spell voice. Don't go, pronounced the little boy. I would like to get out of the trees and go home.
If I help, you must vow me one thing. If you fail, bad luck I will bring you.
What is it that you want me to do? I can't do very much. I like to run and I like to write, but that's about it. My mum says that I'll never amount to anything unless I do my sums and read the long books my teacher gives to me, but they don't interest me and the stories are silly, and when my mum sends me to the shops, I always drop the money down the drain, or forget to buy the bread and get soap instead. I don't mean to do it wrong, it's just the way it happens, prattled the little boy, very quickly, all in the same breath.
Don't you worry, don't you fret. This one thing you can do, I'll bet,
spoke the put-and-take voice. A strange aura filled the air around the little boy. He felt his little hairs stand like straw, and the blood in his cheeks burned like bulbs. All the leaves on the trees stopped moving, just waiting for the lost and found voice to speak again. The birds in the branches held their breath, to hear better the fox and hound voice when it sang again. The insects flying through the cascades of watery light hovered in anticipation of the bat and ball voice's next utterance. The little boy stood stock still, more motionless than the mightiest oak in the forest. Everything submersed inside the forest was still, but unlike the day outside, there was a feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. To the little boy, the next few seconds seemed like waiting to go into the dentist's. He wasn't afraid of the dentist because there was nothing wrong with his strong teeth, but he was always worried that a hole would have appeared in one of them and the dentist would decide that he didn't deserve to have his teeth anymore and pull them all out there and then, leaving the boy with bleeding gums and only able to eat the thin tomato soup his mum gave him when he was poorly. As slow as a worm, the throw-and-catch voice started a sentence.
When you reach the forest's end, and as your weary way you wend, think of me, your sylvan friend, and how I helped with words to send you home again,
suspired the silver silk-spun spirit.
Now this I ask, a simple task, to make the heart and soul of me last. A story you must write, about the day you met the sprite. If this you do, and tell it true, I will stay in your dreams, and in the trees, to help little boys like you to do what they want to do. If this you don't, or tell it won't, I will be in your dreams, but they will be dark and dim, and my help will disappear like a whim. Will you swear, or won't you care, when you're not going anywhere?
The little boy was all ears, like corn, and as fast as a slug he opened his mouth to proclaim the following words. I'm sure that I can do that, but it might not be a very good story, but I will try, he promised.
Those are all the words I need to hear. Just do your best and do not fear. Whatever you create, I know will be great, so long as you trust in yourself and don't prevaricate.
The little boy didn't understand what that meant. I think I know what you mean, he prevaricated.
Now, to get out of the copse, just throw a stick, and where it drops, you will recognize, and soon above you will see clear skies. Farewell, my cheery chap. Next time you must take a map. For I have helped you once, and that is all the aid I can give each person, I'm afraid.
Slurred the skip and jump voice as it receded back into the forest, leaving the little boy alone and holding a pencil-sized stick that he hadn't picked up. Remembering the instructions, He felt the weight of the stick in his hand, and with all of his strength he cast the tiny staff into the wood. He watched it fly and decided to follow it to see where it landed. He ran once more after the stick, and quite all of a sudden he realized that he was near to the edge of the trees, close to the path he had been on his way to school. School! He'd totally forgotten about school. His teacher would be cross with him. He didn't stop to think about anything except running to school. He skidded across the schoolyard, skittered up the school steps, and skimmed into the schoolroom where all his schoolmates were scrawling in their sketchbooks. Everyone looked up, and the teacher rose to her feet. "What time do you call this? Where have you been? I want an answer, and don't tell me any tall tales," the teacher said testily. The little boy prepared what he was going to say. He opened his mouth to speak with pride. It was not a particularly nice day, not a day for a fairy tale. No sunshine, no birds singing, no one smiling, no sense of adventure in the air, no feeling that something